To Iraq now, where tens of thousands of soldiers are advancing on the northern city of Mosul. Iraqi and US military leaders are expressing confidence that they will recapture the city from Islamic State. But it's likely to be a long and difficult campaign. IS claims to have destroyed Iraqi armoured vehicles using suicide bombers, and up to 1 million civilians are expected to flee the fighting. As Anne Barker reports.
It's only early days in a campaign that will take weeks, if not months. But the Iraqi army says the campaign to liberate Mosul is off to a good start. The operations are going very well and according to plan, says Iraq's commander of joint operations, Lieutenant General Talib Shangati. Sometimes we're ahead of the plan because of the high morale and fighters' strong will to defeat ISIS. Already an area of 200 square kilometres has been recaptured from the jihadist group, covering several small towns and villages outside Mosul, although the military campaign is still several days away from reaching the city. The US-led coalition against ISIS includes 60 nations, among them Australia, but the 30,000-strong ground force is made up entirely of Iraqi soldiers, Kurdish fighters and Sunni tribesmen. Lieutenant General Stephen J. Townsend heads the combined Joint Task Force operation.
We've trained and equipped more than 54,000 Iraqi forces, and we supported our Iraqi partners as they fought to liberate their country. As we provide our support, we will continue to use precision to accurately attack the enemy and to minimize any impact on innocent civilians.
But it won't be an easy battle. ISIS has controlled Mosul, Iraq's second-largest city, for nearly 2.5 years. The jihadist group has had plenty of time to prepare for the fight. The UN's humanitarian coordinator is Lise Grand.
We understand that ISIL has booby-trapped large parts of the city. We understand that there's extensive contamination by explosive hazards. We're very worried about snipers. In a worst-case scenario, we can't rule out the possibility that there might be a chemical weapons attack. We also fear that ISIL, as they did in Fallujah, may try and hold civilian populations either as human shields or forcibly expel huge number of civilians in the face of an attack by the Iraqi security forces.
The UN fears up to 1 million civilians will try to flee Mosul in the days and weeks ahead. The majority will need shelter in refugee camps or tents. Right now, the UN says it can accommodate only 60,000, with plans to boost that to 400,000 in a few weeks. Filippo Grandi, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, acknowledges there's a serious shortfall.
The key gap now is to have sufficient sites to accommodate large displacement from Mosul. We're preparing ourselves for a variety of options, not just camps, but also accommodation of people in houses, in communities, emergency sites.
There are fears too that ISIS will attack civilians as they try to escape, exactly as they did in the recent battle at Fallujah. To prevent that, the Iraqi military is refusing to announce publicly where it's establishing so-called humanitarian corridors, and instead will try to alert civilians secretly. But that could prove impossible given the vast number of people trying to escape and the likelihood that IS fighters will try to blend in with the wider population. One Iraqi army leader says to defeat ISIS, security forces will rely heavily on intelligence from civilians inside Mosul.
They gave us a lot of information, how they escape, how many they carry weapons, they don't carry weapons, they have a heavy machine gun, they don't have it, they escape north, east, west. We have a sources.
If successful, the liberation of Mosul will be the biggest blow yet to the Islamic State group, which once controlled up to 1/3 of Iraq, and it will have ramifications for the entire region. A US Defense Department spokesman, Peter Cook, says he's confident the operation will succeed.
The Iraqis have the capabilities to get this job done. It is in our interest that they succeed, and we will do what we can to help them.
That's US Defense Department spokesman Peter Cook ending that report from Anne Barker.